Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to do something super practical. We're breaking down the terms and conditions for your move with Fast Track Movers. Think of this as your inside guide to making sure your moving day goes off without a hitch.
Look, we get it. These documents can seem kind of dense and maybe a little intimidating, but honestly, all the keys to a really successful move are buried right in those details. So we're just going to walk through it all, step by step, and make it crystal clear. You know, the whole point of laying all this out is to make things totally transparent. When everybody knows what to expect, there are no last-minute surprises. And that, right there, is the secret ingredient for a smooth, stress-free move. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to follow the natural journey of your move. We'll start with the very first step, how you actually lock in your moving date. Then we'll get into how the time is billed, how you can pay, and finally, what happens right at the end of the job. First up, booking your move. This part is all about the deposit that holds your spot on the calendar. And just as important, what happens if your plans have to change? You know, whether you need to reschedule or even cancel. So how do you lock it in? It's actually pretty straightforward. A 30% deposit is what officially gets you on the calendar. That deposit secures your specific date and makes sure a dedicated crew is allocated just for you. It basically turns your plan into a real booking.
Okay, but what if your plans change? This is super important. If you need to cancel more than a week before your move, you get your entire deposit back, 100%. If it's inside that final week, you still get half of it back. The only catch, you have to make it official with a text or an email.
And, you know, life happens. We totally get that. That's why there's some real flexibility built right in. You can actually reschedule your move up to 3 times without any fee at all. After the 3rd time, there's just a small $45 fee for any other changes. All right, let's get into what is probably the most asked about part of any move, how the clock works. This is all about understanding exactly how your time is calculated and billed on the big day. So this is the core of it all, right here. It's called the job clock. And it starts ticking the very moment our crew arrives at your pickup location, ready to get to work. From that point forward, all the labor is billed in fair 30-minute blocks. Now, this is a really key distinction you need to understand. For local moves, that's anything under 25 miles, the clock is simple. It just runs continuously from start to finish. But for long-distance moves, it's a little different. The clock runs while they're loading the truck, then it pauses for the drive, and it only restarts when they arrive at your drop-off location to start unloading. And this is a big one, something that can catch you by surprise if you're not ready. If the crew ends up having to wait around because, say, boxes aren't packed or there's a problem getting access to the building, that waiting time is still part of the billable job clock. So being prepared is absolutely key. Okay, fast forward to the end of the move. It's time to settle up. Let's talk about the different ways you can pay. And, just as important, let's cover the safety rules about specific things that, for everyone's protection, just can't be loaded onto the moving truck. As you can see, you've got a bunch of ways to pay. The main thing to know is that if you want to avoid that 2.99% processing fee that comes with using a credit card, you've got options. You can use a debit card over the phone, Zelle, Cash App, or even a check. No fees for those. Just a quick heads up if you're thinking of paying by check. Just be sure to double check that the funds are available. If a check happens to get returned, there's a $35 fee that gets added to the balance. It's a simple thing to avoid. Okay, this next part is all about safety. It's not just a company policy, these are critical safety rules. Things like propane tanks, flammable chemicals, perishable food, and firearms simply cannot be transported on the moving truck. You'll need to figure out a way to move those items separately. All right, we're in the home stretch now. The truck's empty, all your stuff is inside your new place, but we're not quite done yet. There are a few final, really critical steps. This is all about that final walkthrough and what your responsibilities are at the very end. Listen up, because if you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, make it this. The final walkthrough you do with the crew is your one and only chance to report any damages. Once that walkthrough is done and the crew leaves, the job is officially closed. And to wrap things up, here are just a few final points to keep in mind. First, the crew has the right to refuse to move anything that seems unsafe or is just dangerously heavy. Also, it's up to you to make sure there's legal parking and clear access. And remember, just like before, any delays here are billable. So, there you have it. By knowing all this, you're not just hoping for a 5-star move. You're actually prepared for one. You're equipped. The only question left is, are you ready to get moving?